I'm in your face. What is up, Hot Wheel homies, diecast homies, and everyone that just loves cars, big cars, tiny cars, clown cars, electric cars, Teslas. So I hope everyone's having a great weekend. It's Saturday. It's nice outside. It's a little humid here in Washington in the Northwest. It's about 68 degrees. I know that's not hot by any means, but it's very humid today, and I don't like that. I don't like it at all. So right now I have my window open. For the people that have been following me for a long time, you know I live by a train. So you might hear a train come by. You might hear a rice rocket in front of the house shoot by. Toretto! You might hear that. But just ignore it. I'm here. We're gonna talk about some stuff. We're gonna talk about Datsuns. Datsun 510'S, something I'm very passionate about. It's in the name, Datsun Man 510, Datsun Man Diecast, Datsun Man Mania. It's just a very cool thing to talk about Datsuns. They've become very popular lately. So today we're going to just talk about how cool it is that Hot Wheels, M2, Mini GT, all these different companies really, I think it really popped off with Hot Wheels, of course. Hot Wheels came out with the 510 back in the early 2000s, and when those cars came out, they blew up. People really loved them, and they just kept getting more popular and more popular. And now, the Datsun 510 Hot Wheels wise are some of the most expensive ones you can buy, and some of the most popular cars. You can never find those things on the shelf. I know, because I'm always looking for them, and they disappear, and they get resold and all that fun stuff. So I think it's really cool. A buddy of mine, Paul, reminded me that those little cars really brought about a lot of attention for the real cars, the one-to-one cars. So I just think that's really cool. I've seen that shift. I've had Datsuns for a long time. I'm on my sixth Datsun 510. I've had 4 Datsun Zs. 280Zs. Never had a 240. I'd love to have a 240. I'd love to get a 521 pickup truck 69. One just popped up for sale in the area, and I've got my eye on it. So, just Datsuns in general, they've been kind of a cult classic, kind of an obscure car that not a lot of people knew about. Usually, if I would tell someone to have a Datsun, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, my uncle had a B210," and I'd be like, "Cool." Nothing against B210s, but most of them are gone, rusted, and they're not pretty. But I'm sure there's people out there that love those cars. It's just not my cup of tea. So you just have to kind of nod your head and kind of listen to the stories. But when it comes to the 510, of course, there's some crazy racing pedigree for that car. The 240Z that shook it up too. When it came out, it was faster than the 911 around the track. So for a fraction of the price, probably half the price of a Porsche 911. So Datsun's really been, it's a really nostalgic thing for a lot of people. And when they came out, they were cheap, affordable, and they were like family cars. And then, they became racing cars, with Peter Brock and BRE. So they became a really, and also Paul Newman raced, I think it was a 280ZX. Around the track, and did a lot of cool things with that too. So I really kind of appreciate the fact that when I go to a car show now, or I take my Datsun 510, my 69 510 to a car show, people are so excited and stoked to see the real car. They've never seen one in their life. They've always had, Hot Wheels, or they've seen one. They've heard of their parents talking about them, or, because people in their like 40s and 50s, their parents had them, and, maybe they had one as a teenager, so they're really a nostalgic car. So the cool thing about diecast is that it starts with the little cars sometimes. When you're a kid, you have all these cars. For me, I just started a challenge on Instagram and YouTube, your first diecast challenge. And for me, it was a Baja Breaker, a Corvette, a Stingray, and then also like a Cruella de Vil Cadillac that had like this sparkle, like like this red and black sparkle to it. And those are the cars I still have. I was able to keep those from when I was a kid. I only have, and then I have like an old Fox Body Mustang, which is not a Hot Wheel. It's an off-brand. But it's really cool to still have those cars. I've wheel swapped 2 of them and put some clear coat on them so that they kind of last a bit longer and they don't get all chipped up and deteriorate. But they're still in pretty good shape. So for kids, I think it's really cool to get into Hot Wheels and not only Hot Wheels. I think Hot Wheels is definitely the biggest brand out there. But, when it came to Matchbox and the Superfast, and there's so many other different brands out there, the thing that's so cool about them is it really got you into the real cars, So that's what I started with as a kid. I'd encourage you guys to write in the comments below what your first memory was with Hot Wheels, and what your first Hot Wheel was. Like I just told you what mine are, and they're pretty near and dear to my heart. I really wouldn't sell that Baja Breaker for much more than, or much less than $1 billion in cash, all in ones. So if you have that, just hit me up, and we can talk. We can do a deal. I take payments. Anyways, so it's really cool to have these old cars. So, I mean, I remember just racing them down the hallway on hardwood floor, just racing them against each other. I also had a car that I don't have anymore. I might have half of it, but it was the Crash Test Dummies one that would break in half, and it was magnetic, and that was really cool. That car would just blow up into 2 pieces. And I know Chuck from Flying Valiant and Diecast Breakdown, I know that he loves those crash cars like more than anything. And I like those cars a lot too. So with my Baja Breaker that I have, the first Hot Wheel that I have, I was able to find one on Mercari, the buy and sell app, and I found one that was in a card still. And I was like, don't tell the seller this, but I was probably willing to pay any amount of money for this car. I was like $300, whatever. I'm like, this is my first Hot Wheel that I found in a pretty good looking card. Like it was in pretty decent shape. And I think that's an 80. I think that car was made in like 84 or 5 or something like that. I was born in 84. So it was really amazing to find that. But I ended up getting it for like $20-something or maybe 30. I don't know. But it wasn't much. So I was willing to pay that. And I still have that now. And that's a really sentimental car too. Because that thing's brand new in the card, and it's an old, and actually I think that thing is definitely not in the 80s. It's like, I think it was late 70s. I think that was like 78, 79, something like that. So it was in the 70s. So for it to still be in good shape in a card is a pretty amazing thing. So it's just cool that what these die-cast cars do to us as kids, and what they kind of mold us into, because I think most anyone that's into Hot Wheels or Matchbox or whatever brand you like, M2, Mini GT, Johnny Lightning is a really old brand too. Whatever you're into, you're a car person, like whether you like it or not. If you like the little die-cast cars, you're a car person. You like the real ones. You can't not. So maybe the only people that aren't car people are the people that just like fantasy, the fantasy cars, and they're out there, Everybody likes their own thing when it comes to collecting. So I guess the next thing that I'd like to roll into, and a couple of questions that I would ask yourself, is what does collecting mean to you? What brings you the most joy about collecting Hot Wheels or modifying Hot Wheels? And what can you do to help others in this hobby enjoy it more, help other channels grow? What can you do to lift other people up is a question I think that everyone should answer to themselves this week. If you're listening to this podcast, what can you do to help others, to bring joy to others and help other people grow? Because, it's not all about subscribers. It's not all about followers and how many hours and all those counts. It's great to hit those markers and have those goals, don't get me wrong. But remember, just like with collecting, it's quality over quantity. So it's really been a blessing to have subscribers and followers that are very active and very uplifting to me and have always kind of been there. And so it's really amazing to have those people. You could have 500,000 subscribers or followers on Instagram, and a lot of people, they just don't really truly care. Everyone's just trying to get attention, or as the kids call it, clout, or whatever you want to call it. But it's the quality over quantity and what you can do to help others. That's why we do the charity raffles, and we try to help others. And then the amount of generosity in this community is crazy. And let's focus more on that kind of stuff than focusing on how many subscribers you have and how many likes and who's commenting on your pictures and who's not. The less you focus on that kind of stuff, the healthier you're going to be mentally. So, I mean, just do your own thing. Post your stuff, what you enjoy. It's nice when people comment on stuff, but don't rely on that. And don't judge others on if they don't comment on your stuff, or you don't know if they're watching your videos. You don't know, hitting a like button. I mean, what does that really mean? It's just good to have those people that are there for you, that will help you find the diecast you need, help give you support, people you can reach out to when you need them. Those are the people that really are very valuable in your life. So, yeah, it's just, you got to think of those things. Another question that I need people to ask themselves this week is, what's one thing you've wanted to do in your life that you just haven't? Something that you've always wanted to do and just haven't. I would encourage you to write that down right now or when you get the chance, and just kind of focus on that for this week as well, on some things that you'd like to do that you just haven't. And I would just make it a priority to do that if you can. If you want to be president, it's possible. It's not going to happen next week, but gosh, you couldn't pay me enough money in the world to be president. It's just not something I want to do. But, if you want to start a YouTube channel, if you want to start posting videos, but you're just really afraid of what people are going to say, reach out to me for any kind of help, any kind of pointers on what program to use and what to do. But you just got to start doing it. I'm very proud of my wife, Kimber. She just started an Instagram channel or page. She loves to organize things and cook, and she loves to clean, and that's her passion. She loves watching those things, but she's very good at organizing things, and so she started making videos, and I've been pushing her to do it, and I'm pushing her to continue to post things, and she's really having a lot of fun with it, and there's a lot of frustration that comes with it as well. Instagram's been really terrible lately, and it's been really hard to upload things for shorts and reels and all that stuff. So she was frustrated a couple of days ago when she was trying to do that. So there's a lot of frustration that comes with it too. But I encourage you guys to just do it. Just go ahead and post a video. You don't even have to show your face, and if you have, maybe you're self-conscious about your voice, maybe see if James Earl Jones can fill in for a voiceover or something like that. Maybe Morgan Freeman. I don't know. Maybe they're doing that stuff now. You can pay them, but I'm sure they're not cheap. But in all seriousness, I encourage people to do some of the things that they've wanted to do, whether it, artwork, custom cars, maybe you want to start like a business selling Hot Wheels. I don't know. It's just the thing that you've really thought about for a long time and you just haven't done. I just need you to dig back in your mind and pull it forward and just contemplate making that happen. So for me, it was starting a YouTube channel, and it's a really hard thing to do when you start out. and even when you stop for a while, because I stopped posting for a while, you kind of drop off. People become a lot less interested. So, of course, I appreciate all the people out there that hung in there when I kind of dropped off for a bit because of, family, because that comes first. And so I appreciate all the people that continue to watch my, they would continue to watch my stuff, to continue to go back and see things that they haven't before, and, getting on Instagram and liking my stuff on there. I definitely see those people, and I won't treat anyone else differently, but the people that are always there and supportive, they mean a lot, and it's, we all need people like that in our lives. So it's tough starting a channel. It's tough starting an Instagram page. It takes some time to grow. It will really teach you some patience, because it's a process and it's not an overnight thing. And those huge channels that you see that have, 500,000 or 50,000 or a million, that's a process. And those people, a lot of those people, have worked really hard to get there, and a lot of them have sold out too. So you got to be true to yourself, and you don't ever want to sell out, and just become something that you're not, So I encourage people to always be themselves, no matter what, and I appreciate those people out there that are still, doing their thing. Like, you got Yogi and Jakarta Diecast. He's got over 1 million subscribers, and he's still himself fully. He's true to himself, So it's pretty rare to see that, and it's pretty humbling to see people that can still stay humble and do their thing and make incredible artwork with diecast and still, not have a big head about it. So there's those channels, and we've, on the diecast breakdown, we've been able to interview some really amazing people. Bruce Pascal with the $3 million Hot Wheels collection. He was very down to earth and just a really cool guy, and just did not have his nose up in the air at all. That's going to be airing soon, so keep your eye out. And if you're not subscribed to the Diecast Media Network on YouTube or following us on any one of the podcasts, including Apple Music, I highly encourage that, because I started doing podcasts on here. That's another thing that I thought I'd never do, is sitting in a room right now talking to myself. But I also really enjoy having people on and interviewing people, and to kind of dig around and see what their passions are and how they started. And there's so many questions to ask people, and it's so inspiring to talk to some of these collectors and modifiers, and it's really a cool thing. So you just got to step out and take that leap of faith. It's almost like jumping off a cliff into water, but there's water down there, and you're going to land in water and not on rocks. So I always encourage people to reach out to me if you have questions, or if you need me to I always like to give, smaller channels shout outs and try to help them, just be nice about it. Just ask politely, and, never expect anything from somebody, demanding things, because that doesn't really get you very far. So I just encourage you guys to step out and do something this week, that just at least think about some things that you've never done that you've wanted to do, and to try to make it happen, and to reach out to other people if you need help doing it. Because I think, life's about that, helping lift others up. And the more you focus on helping others and less on yourself and being selfish, I think it's just it's a beautiful thing, to say the least. So, when it comes to that stuff, God is good. So, I just really appreciate the people that listen to these podcasts, that comment. I know these podcasts aren't for everyone, but the reason I do it is because there's people at work, and, they're doing their thing. They can't watch YouTube videos. They can't be on the internet. They can't be on their phone looking at things. So they can plug in their headphones, and they can listen to me for some reason. They can choose to listen to Mark McHotwheel talk about whatever, diecast, friendship, whatever, because I like to talk about whatever, because I just want to be true to myself. I just want to be myself. So I just encourage you guys to get out there this week and to help at least one person, in the diecast community in some way or another, whether it's grow their channel, to comment on their page, give them kind words, give them encouragement, because that goes so far when you help give others encouragement. And sometimes when you give them positive feedback or constructive criticism, and not be harsh on them, but to give them constructive criticism and help them learn and lift them up. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I really, would appreciate if you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I just want to get more good quality people in here. I'm not looking to get tons of subscribers or followers or whatever. I just want to get more passionate diecast people, more car people to come into this community and lift each other up, because that's what it's about. So if you're not following me on Spreaker or Apple, I'm not on Apple Podcasts right now, but I am on pretty much every other one. So try to hit a like on there or rate me on there. That would be appreciated. So I love you guys. Have a blessed week, and I'll see you in the next podcast.